I am excited. I just upgraded from the Moza R5 to the Moza R12 V2. We're just going to hop into some different racing games, and I'm going to tell you how it feels compared to the R5 while I'm playing the games. Let's go. Okay, so let's start out with some drifting. It's only natural because when I first started sim racing and when I first got the R5, I would be constantly drifting. And right away, the first thing I want to point out, the difference between the R5 and the R12 is you're going to you will be running vastly different settings, and I will explain this. So what I'll do is I'll put on the settings that I had with the R5 and kind of show you why they won't work with this wheel. So I would always run 200% wheel speed on the R5 simply because I wanted the wheel to keep up with the car's rotation. I never really found that it could outpace the cars. And then I would run 0 damping, 100% natural friction. I would run 100% natural inertia. And this is what felt most comfortable to me. The wheel would spin in my hands nicely. It never really shook around. I always had a little bit of oscillations, but I mean, if you tried to dampen those out, you would just end up losing that rotation speed, I found, for me personally anyways. So I always ran it like this. Two things I'll demonstrate here. One, how this won't work, and second, how when you get the R12, you are starting to enter into territory where you can injure yourself, and you're about to see this right now. I have the in-game force feedback only about 70% right now. So if I crank it up to 100, it actually can get quite rowdy. So check it out. First thing you're gonna see, a lot of oscillations coming from the wheel when you don't run any damper or natural inertia, which is normal for wheelbases to do. But right away, I would never get that kind of oscillations at low speeds, right? And so when we try and drift now, you're gonna watch see how the wheel's not really smoothly rotating? See it on the camera here. I'm gonna let go in this transition here. You're gonna see how it kind of steps? It doesn't do a nice smooth spin. It spins and stops. The wheelbase is actually able to outpace the game rotation, and it without this too becomes quite more aggressive, quite more difficult to handle. As you can probably hear in my voice, I'm having to fight it a lot more. And the higher force feedback you run, if we go to, let's say, 100%, it just becomes a barbaric maniac. Watch this. We're gonna try this. We're gonna be careful not to hit our hands. Oh God! Oh my God. It might not be translating on camera, but the wheel is an absolute maniac. Okay, we're gonna let that go. So those settings don't work. So what I found is running this wheel on much lower rotation speed and actually adding in some damper. Actually, I'll just load my preset here. My Swarm preset for the Swarm Corvette. So I found that I dialed back the maximum speed quite a bit to 70% while still being able to run some damper and some natural inertia. And I absolutely love that because now the wheel at a standstill has much more weight to it. It has more of like a power steering kind of feel to it. And at the same time, still has plenty of spinning speed. Now, obviously, every car pack and car you drive might require a different preset, but just look at how smooth that is now. Still plenty of rotation speed. And you're getting still so much more road feel. I could feel the car vibrating. I felt that little wall tap there. It just feels so much more like take two. But yeah, it just feels so much more like a real car, and it's nice to be able to run lower force feedback, lower spinning speed, and still have that weight of the wheel come through, well, without losing the detail of the road. Now, we're drifting, so I don't really like feeling the detail of the road as much when I'm sliding. It's more about my steering and my throttle inputs. But as you can see, absolutely fantastic for drifting, and knowing that I have all that headroom for a car that requires more rotation, maybe less or more damper, you still have plenty of headroom to work with. You're not kind of stuck on having to use one setting. So I think that's a huge step up for drifting. This might be a little overkill for drifting. Might be a little bit too much power, but just to know that I have it feels really good. And you might be thinking, well, maybe max rotation speed at 70% is fine and dandy for Brooklyn Park, but what about corners like a Toge track, something tighter and quicker? Well, why don't we hop over to some Toge and see this in action, so you can see that even with these lower rotation settings, you're still going to get plenty of spinning speed to do some fast, snappy transition. Let's head over some Toge. All right, we are in the same car, this time on Hapelgehera, doing some Toge drifts. I might not be able to talk as much during this run because this requires a lot of concentration to do, but I just want to quickly demonstrate that you can run these tight tracks with these same settings, and like it blew my mind when I first tried this how much I could actually turn down the spinning speed of the wheel and still get a good output. I might end up changing the natural inertia just to get a little bit more or a little bit less of a wind up when I'm transitioning, but I think we can get it done now. So let's go ahead and try and take some of these downhill initial T corners. Let's go. The feedback is just incredible on this wheel. I can feel every little bump and dip in the road as I'm sliding. I actually would like to turn that down a bit. I just feel so much more sense of control of what the car is doing and what the tires and the suspension are telling me with this wheelbase, especially on this Toge run here. Absolutely can shred, and we're only on 70% max wheel speed here. We're running quite, not too much damper, but quite a bit of natural inertia. So again, the wheel just feels so much more like a realistic car. Like I really feel like there's power steering in this vehicle. The gear ratio might be a little bit too short for this. And I also have the track quite dark right now. But I think we're getting through it. Oh my lord. Into a 360 kind of deal. We'll hit these hairpins and then we'll stop here. Big e-brake entry. Oh, fantastic feeling. Absolutely superb feeling. It is such a different experience than the R5 for drifting. I didn't really think it was going to be completely honest, but I found that it really has changed my understanding of what the car is doing. So much so that it actually took quite a bit of getting used to. It's a little bit overwhelming at the start. I know we said we'd stop after those hairpins, but we are shredding besides that one crash. But we gotta give it a little bit more, don't we, guys? Maybe we run the course. Run the course. What I really think is cool, that was terrible. Every time the car redlines, the wheel starts to shake a little bit. It's just a nice, cool little effect I never really felt on the R5. One thing I want to mention too is the first video I uploaded was my honest 2-year review of the R5, and I had this issue where after drifting like this for a while, the wheel would go out of center, meaning I would have to center it in pit house. I would hold it straight in my hands, but it wouldn't be center in the pit house. And I have not run into that issue with this wheel. Now, to be fair, that might be because I have never run it at 200% yet. I really haven't found the need to. So maybe even that could help the R5, but I have not had that issue with this wheel yet at all. Feedback just feeling great. And I find the more I'm getting used to it, the heavier I'm starting to run the force feedback. A lot of e-brake action through here. Hapelgehera is just my favorite Toge course. Oh, we almost biffed it into the wall there. Right there, the natural inertia was a little bit too heavy. I had to kind of assist the wheel back. But at the same time, that might be more realistic. To be honest, I've never drifted in Toge in real life. I don't know if I would have the balls to do that. And it looks like we're gonna film running the whole course. We're just gonna do that. Because I can't stop, won't stop. But as you guys can see, this wheel is very versatile. We went from very lazy track to some absolutely demanding corners where we have to do everything, left foot braking, hand braking, and the wheel has kept up no problem. In fact, it's probably saying, is that all you got? This isn't what I'm designed for. I need to break your fingers. No. I don't know why I e-braked there. And the final corner, let's see if we can do a 180 park here. Perfect. So yes, as you can see, much lower rotation speed, much lower settings with amazing performance. Let's move on to iRacing now, because that title is by far the biggest difference I felt from the R5 to the R12. Let's go. We're in iRacing now. This is where I think the change is most noticeable, going from the R5 to the R12 V2, simply because there's a lot more headroom, and so the fidelity is much stronger and you get much more feedback. So right away, when and if you upgrade to the R12, you'll notice coming from an R5 that the road texture comes through in iRacing so much more. Every bump, almost like you feel every pebble in the road. The road feel is just such a step up from the R5. It is insane, and it really comes through in the R12. And I'm not sure if that's because of the new 21-bit encoder. I've never tried the V1, so I can't really speak from experience. But either way, the road feel is a huge step up. Obviously, with higher Newton meters, you're going to get more torque, but the fidelity is so much better. And the one thing that I've really noticed is the curb characteristics come through so much better. You start to get much better muscle memory of what every curb is like, and understanding how hard you can hit that curb. I always kind of found with the R5 it was hard to get used to curbs. Can't blame the R12 on that, that's my driving. But every curb comes through perfectly, and I haven't even really messed with the equalizer settings that much in iRacing. I don't really feel like I need to. Obviously, the longer you own something, you end up... obviously, the longer you own the R12, you'll start playing with the settings more. But it just comes through so much more. And the feeling of loss of grip, the suspension, all of that just comes through incredibly. I'm actually running it at a decent heavy setting here, because I do like it to be a little bit heavier. Oh, I see the curves just bounce your hands around. Now, just because you're getting a better wheelbase doesn't make you faster, but when you become faster, you can utilize better tools to a greater extent. That was slow as hell. Now, I will say the R5 always did a good job with iRacing. I found that it did much better than other titles with road feel and curve effects, but again, sometimes you'd be getting so much force feedback that you would just kind of lose curb feel and road texture. If you have like an R9 or something, this might not make a world of a difference, but you have an R5 or an R3 or a Logitech, or even just looking to get a good mid-entry level wheelbase, the R12 has got you covered. Absolutely incredible feeling through here. Those curves really throw you around. Let's try and go through here without lifting. No lifting, no lifting. Wow. Big bump. Up a gear, big bumps, onto the curb. Oh, oh. lost it. It's so much easier to understand when the car is letting go. I find that I can recover the car much better. And obviously that comes with time and practice, but having a wheelbase that can give you more information of when the rear is letting go or when you're getting a bunch of understeer, it really does help you recover in certain scenarios and understand what you need to do and adjust your driving. Big bump there. You don't get very much oscillations either. I get a little bit of wobble. It's very minimal, and I do feel like I could fix that in pit house. So, was this upgrade from the R5 to the R12 V2 worth it? 100%. Absolutely. What a machine. Now, as you can see, I'm running the force feedback quite high. And right there, we just clipped a little bit. That might have been the first time we clipped. But it's never clipping when I'm turning it. I've got plenty of headroom when I'm turning it. It's only when I'm smashing a super hard curb, and that's where that road feel really shines through. And like right there, the wheel getting light as I lock the front end up, adjusting my braking accordingly. Now again, you can tune these settings to get the R5 to help you out, and you will get this kind of information, but I just find that you have to do so much more tuning to get it even close to this, and you end up having a much lighter feel, a much more limp feeling wheel. Now, I'm not saying it's Logitech by any means, but it is hugely noticeable. And to be quite honest, my arms are getting a little tired. I might actually end up turning it down. I was messing with these settings yesterday, recording these clips, and I had the audio messed up when I recorded iRacing, so we're back in here doing another take, and it's quite heavy. And again, not losing any detail. Every curb we've hit, every section of the track has felt fantastic. Interestingly enough too, because there's so much more feel, you actually, to me, maybe it's just my head playing tricks on me, but it feels like it's getting heavier as the tires get warmer, honestly. I'm just having an absolute blast. Ooh. Now see right there, I really couldn't do that as easy because of the loss of information I would get on the R5. I'm probably making the R5 sound like it's not good. It is very good. I still totally recommend that wheel, especially on a budget. And we're getting faster and faster. We should probably stop now. But yes, it feels incredible on iRacing. That is the biggest difference I've noticed. Drifting was a big difference, but this is a whole nother level of force feedback when it comes to iRacing. So this will definitely be a much better experience if you're into iRacing and you're thinking to upgrading or buying the R12. You won't be disappointed. So this is the Moza R12 V2. Is it a big difference from the R5? Absolutely massive difference from the R5. Is it worth the upgrade? I think from the R5, yes, it definitely is. I don't know if you necessarily want to upgrade to this if you have something like an R9, because it's only a little bit more Newton meters of force feedback, but I mean, at the same time, maybe this gives more fidelity. I don't know, I've never tried an R9. Anyways, that's my video, you guys. I hope you liked it. I'm going to try and upload some more. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.